to arrange that it's very important Helen does what she oughtn't.
I've got a hunch you contrive to appear dismayed and betrayed and afraid.
Of course, wouldn't you?
The resourceful and prudent thing to do.
When I heard that clap of thunder, I was really quite put down.
That was fixed, I shouldn't wonder. Talcus knows what love's all about. What a coincidence, the king was in duty bound to leave for Helen all alone. Just as a prince who was of singular beauty came to tap to make her his own. Menelaus braved the ocean, sadly to his lot resigned. Hadn't got the foggiest notion what was on young Paris's mind. If he'd had the least suspicion, guessed how deeply laid the plot, understood young love's ambition, he'd have stayed and Paris could not.
Poor Menelaus, so deceived and deluded, most naive and credulous of men. Here's to the matter being safely concluded by the time we see him again. To his happiness we agree, still in heaven not so degree. There's no remedy we can see, we're not worrying, no, not we. Though I would normally deplore decorum, rules for once can't possibly apply. Humor the goddesses and never ignore them, never let their flights go awry. So if Venus thinks that it's proper, Helen make this sacrifice. Why should we endeavor stop her when the boy's so awfully nice?
In the special circumstances, none of us should dare compare one of time's sublime romances with an ordinary affair.
Though we are not supposed to know much about it, we're prepared to look the other way. If it should happen and we don't really doubt it, Paris means fair Helen is straight. To scandalous we agree, still in heaven not so degree. There's no remedy we can see, we're not worrying, no, not we. If the gods should so decree, it doesn't bother you nor me. Ladies, pray attend upon the Queen and inquire if she wishes to put in an appearance this evening. If not, maybe she'd like to change her library book.
You know, this hoping and trusting attitude is all very well, but we ought to be doing something.
But what can we do? It's none of our business.
Oh, but it is. If there's one deity nobody's prepared to risk offending, even in this skeptical age, it's the goddess of love. We don't know it's actually true what they say, that we depend on her favor for the continued enjoyment of the only thing that makes life worth living. But it's a chance we obviously can't afford to take, so we may as well give her a helping hand while we can, just to be on the safe side.
But I'm still asking, what can we do?
Paris has made a sightseeing tour of the city 3 times and sampled every distraction we have to offer. He's now keeping to his room, pacing about like a caged lion. Has Helen summoned him? No. Has he asked Helen to receive him? No. The fate of the entire population depends on a summit meeting between these 2 top people. They both persist in waiting for the other to make the first move. Do we just stand by, apathetically, hoping and trusting, or do we do something? Consider the situation. Paris, maintaining that a privilege has been granted to him, doesn't see why he should have to plead for it. Helen, whose beauty is highly prized, considers her favor should be sought, not offered. Result, deadlock. So, we must arrange that the desired objective is achieved without either of them losing face.
How?
You, my dears, report to the Queen that Paris craves an audience. I shall report to Paris that Helen requests the pleasure of his company. What could be simpler?
They find out.
Looking at it biologically, I'd say once they get together, they won't be interested in who invited whom. Are you with me?
Nephew, what are you doing here?
Oh, fairest and most royal of aunties, I appear on behalf of your guest, Prince Paris of Troy.
It seems the prince craves an audience.
He does?
Oh, very well. I'll see him. Ask him to come now, at once.
I'll have him here in no time, Your Majesty.
You know, I think Calchas must have been mistaken about Orestes. He seems quite a well-mannered young man.
Come, oh Queen, I'll help you to change.
Change? Is my negligee so unbecoming?
Oh, no. But didn't you say you would receive Prince Paris?
I did, and I shall receive him as I am. If I bedeck myself in sumptuous apparel, he might think I was trying to turn his head. With my husband absent, that would be most unseemly.
Oh, true, oh Queen.
To reduce his ardor to the minimum, I shall stay in this simple attire with no more makeup or perfume than I just happen to be wearing. He must take me as he finds me.
Yes, O Queen.
Is my hair all right?
Now it is.
Do I need any rouge?
Oh, you've already the hint of a blush upon your cheeks. It's just perfect.
Oh, Cressida, what shall I say to him?
Oh, simply tell him you're a good girl, that you have always done your duty, and that you will again.
A moment now is drawing near, and in my heart both joy and fear. For who can say as years unfold the tale that may one day be told? How Helen's doubts were stilled, and heaven's promise fulfilled. Let song and legend duly say, the gods I dare not disobey. The truth to me is now revealed, the moment I to Paris yield, forgetting heaven above, with Paris I feel love.
Sorry, Aunt, but once I told him the news, I couldn't keep up with him. Prince Paris of Troy.
Welcome, Prince Paris. How are you enjoying your stay in Sparta?
Not very much, I'm afraid. Yet.
Orestes, are there other guests in the palace this evening?
Alas, O Queen, there's a whole pack of them in the card room, including 3 kings and a joker named Calchas. Do you want me to keep an eye on them?
I think it might be as well.
So do I.
Helen, why has it been so long?
Just what I was going to ask you.
Clearly I've been wrong about you. But I was only taking for granted what everybody told me. The whole world must be wrong about you.
What do you mean?
Heaven knows the mistake's understandable enough. Looking at you as I am now, it's hard to believe that there's beauty even equal to yours, let alone surpass it. And yet there must be.
Why?
It's logic. Didn't Venus promise me the love of the most beautiful woman in the world? Obviously, you don't love me, so it follows. You can't be the most beautiful woman in the world. QED.
Oh, and to whom do you suggest I should yield the palm? Cressida, perhaps? Or Leona? Or maybe King Agamemnon's daughter, Electra? Or what if his queen Clytemnestra with her beaky nose? Penelope's much admired, even though nobody's mad about her needlework. And what of your brother Hector's wife, Andromache? Perhaps she's fairer than Helen?
No, none of these compare with you. Yet how can you be fairest of all if you don't love me as Venus promised?
Have I said I don't love you?
You can't possibly love me, or else you wouldn't have kept me so long in suspense, wasting so much precious time when we have so little.
Am I not allowed any pride to go with my beauty? Wooed so fiercely by the greatest and bravest of men, must I fall into your arms without hearing one whisper of entreaty? Have you said a single word of love to me? Have you spoken of anything but your claim on me?
Helen.
I say, I'm most frightfully sorry, but the governor and those 2 muscle men are in a party over the card game. They're threatening to come and see you.
Oh, no, not now.
Yes, I thought I'd better let you know.
Please, see what you can do. Paris, you You know now that my heart is yours, but you must be patient with me. Come back to me in just a little while.
I certainly will.
Really too bad, Helen. You'll have to do something about him.
He's a coward too, refused to
Had the
fight.
nerve to claim that he was under your
protection.
Barefaced robbery, I call it. He's absolutely rooked us all.
Cleaned us right out.
Wait, gentlemen, please. What is all this? Who are you talking about?
Him!
Calchas, have you been cheating again?
Me certainly not. Do I have to remind you that I am a pawn? For goodness sake, come off it and talk a little sense. I reserve my defense. You'd all the aces, everyone. You'd all the trumps, and we had none.
And being diddled isn't fun.
You're just annoyed because I won.
To cheat at cards simply is not done.
You took them for a ride, a thing they can't abide.
The charge is quite unjustified.
And now, of course, he's horrified.
The accusation is denied.
He's got his answer cut and dry. Of course, the gods were on his side.
I've been peeved, I'll have you know. I wouldn't stoop so awfully low.
Oh dear no, he wouldn't stoop so low, no.
I can't imagine how you dare even suggest I don't play fair.
Hey, well then, you wouldn't dare, even a hint you won't play fair. To call you names we shouldn't dare. He's wanting us to have a care.
You don't fool us one little bit. One thing is very deadly in it. You give us back our money or you won't be our auger anymore. You won't be with us anymore.
I've got a feeling I'd be wise if I agreed to compromise.
So very wise, so very wise. That is exactly what we advise.
What do you say we call it square if I return you half my share?
That's very fair, that's very fair. You've got a splendid idea there. After this, let no one ever dare say Calcas is unfair and square. No, after this, let no one dare say Calcas is unfair and square. Let no one dare. Let no one dare say Calcas is unfair and square.
Queen Helen, now that peace has finally been restored, I feel we ought to celebrate. Have I your permission to gather a few friends and throw a party?
A party, that's a good idea.
I like parties.
Of course,
Who can-
you yourself aren't in the mood or perhaps have made other plans.
Other plans? What nonsense. You will join us, my dear, won't you?
As a matter of fact, I do feel rather tired this evening, but you have a party by all means. I shall be content to know you're all enjoying yourselves.
Then we'll bid you good night, fair lady, and sweet dreams. For us, it's wine, women, and song.
Hey, wait a minute. What about Calcas? Isn't he coming?
I'll be there presently.
What about our money?
You'll get your money.
Well, I should certainly hope so.
I smell a ruse.
You're quite right. Ladies, will you look out for my visitor?
Paris, you've made up your mind.
I'm weary of the battle, Calchas. I can fight fate no longer.
You fought exactly long enough. Well done. Now at last you yield to the superior forces of destiny.
Well done. Dear daughter of Leda, it must have been quite a battle, but now that it's safely lost, play rest.
Recuperate. I prescribe a quiet moment. Close those dazzling orbs a while, and let all past tumult of the mind be lulled into a soothing hush of peace, a trance of tranquility, so you feel your cares dropping away into oblivion, and you float on a soothing cloud of peace into an Elysium of untroubled calm, composure, and complete contentment.
Oh, if you go on like that much longer, I shall drop off.
Why don't you? And let your lover come to you as in a dream.
What are you thinking of?
This is only a dream.
If it's only a dream, it's the sweetest I've dreamed.
As before me you near, stranger shall feel so very real.
Oh, dream of love so sweetly fulfilled, yearnings and longings that seemed all in vain. Dreams of love so tender and thrilling, you can surrender yet dreamlessly vain.
Then let me dream on, if ever and ever you give me your heart, as I give you mine. Don't let me away, if ever you're willing to forsake, and love me forever, if I may.
To dream of love together we're daring, blindly unheeding the world that we knew, enwrapped and tranced, for love alone caring, blissfully sharing our heaven for two.
No wonder that songs of love are so vivid, and this is the bliss they seem to express. Yet words cannot say how wondrous the miracle, the rapture of heaven, another's caresses.
To dream of love together we're daring, blindly unheeding the world that we knew, enwrapped, entranced, for love alone caring, blissfully sharing our heaven for two.
'Twas the goddess of love who kindled these passions.
And gave us this glimpse of heaven above.
Was to be a faithful wife in my fashion, as I give again this heart to
Dream of love together we're daring, you and I, for love alone caring, Helen! Oh, Helen! Oh, Helen!
Pardon me? Gracious me. What is the meaning of this? By Jupiter! What is the meaning of this?
Menelaus, what on earth are you doing here?
Finding out what happens when I'm not here.
You were supposed to stay in Crete for a month.
Ha! But I didn't, did I? I got fed up. I offered Jupiter's ogre 100 camels a year to let me off the rest of my sentence. I settled for 150, and here I am. But you weren't expecting me, were you?
I certainly was not. I'm quite dazed.
And that young man in there wasn't expecting me either, was he?
Young man. Oh, he's only a dream.
A dream? Have you ever seen a dream walking? Hey, you in there, Prince Paris, come out.
Somebody paging me?
Young
Oh,
man.
good evening.
You're for it. If I can get this coat off. By Jove, you're for it.
Now, Menelaus, you're not going to make a scene, are you?
A scene? I'm going to make a whole drama before I'm through.
Kindly lower your voice. Somebody might hear you.
Everybody's going to hear me. I shall shout it from the housetops. I shall...
Are you out of your mind? Incidents of this kind need handling with the greatest discretion.
Discretion, my hoot. I shall make a simply tremendous fuss. I
Most
shall...
husbands would shrink from...
I'm not most husbands. I'm a husband of epic dimensions. The name Menelaus shall ring down the ages as a synonym for the spouse humiliated. Don't you see? To go to town on this is my only chance for fame. I shall live in history after all. The personification of the injured husband. The classic example of marital misfortune. Homer will give me a chapter all to myself. I can see the heading now. Deceiving Menelaus, deceive.
You mean to shame us, so you'll be famous.
It seems to me extremely bad publicity.
Disaster, calamity,
Catastrophe.
It is indeed, and I shall need some sympathy from history.
Menelaus finds the time for singing a song.
Singing a song,
Delighted to find your voice so fruity and strong.
fruity and strong.
And you even seem to harmonize whenever you go wrong. When you've had a little drink's the time to sing a little song.
Menelaus finds the time for song.
Good gracious me.
The king.
Yes, 'tis I. I just opened the door and I clearly saw my wife canoodling with the lodger.
While the king has been gone, there's been some carrying
What
on.
have they done?
What have they done?
What have they done?
What have they done?
What have they been and gone to my good name? Oh, what a shame.
Oh, what a shame. Oh, what a shame.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, what a shame.
A shame.
You only have yourself to blame. 'Tis I who ought to cry for shame. A husband who is away at sea shouldn't turn up unexpectedly. If he decides to return to love his neglected wife, he should inform. She'll be prepared and thus prevent this sort of unfortunate accident, and so be spared embarrassment.
You only have yourself to blame. It's me who ought to cry for shame. A husband who's away at sea should not turn up unexpectedly. A wife prepared cannot prevent the sort of unfortunate accident, so be spared embarrassment.
Now as for you, sir, you seducer, I shall take my revenge, so make no mistake. You're in a jam, you'd better scram, race the daddle, and don't come back.
If I have got to go, I've got to go. But I'll be back, I have you know. Very soon I'll reappear on the scene to carry off fair Helen, Sparta's queen.
Be gone, oh be gone, you wickedest of men. We don't ever want to see your face again.
Dear Paris, go and beloved as we part, forever and ever take with you my heart. Love is all, from his joy and pain we'll never be free, whatever befall. To be loved, to love our destiny.
Venus on Mount Ida gave me your love. should I have defied a command from above? I think you're making far too much fuss. Surely it's unwise, you cannot realize the risk you are taking, treating me thus.
Be gone, be gone.
How can you be so foolish?
Be gone, be gone.
Helen is my prize.
It's hard on you, but what can they do? When love is old, all its joy and pain will never be free. Whatever befalls, whatever befalls, will be loved and to love the destiny.
Though you may be ever so upset, Helen, you can never hope to get.
Though you may be ever so upset, Helen, you can never hope to get.
Loved you was rapture, I never can forget. Such as no mortal ever can regret.
Helen is my mother.